My little one is in the back if you hear her. My husband and other child are at the hardware store right now, so I'm going to try to be a little bit quick. I have a little haul for you today, and then I have a story time. So let's get started. I'm feeling a little not great today, just kind of mentally. So I'm kind of hoping filming and editing will put me in a better mood. But I didn't feel like getting dressed up or anything like that. Although this is a new shirt. We were at Cracker Barrel for lunch, and this was on clearance, so it was only $6. And I figure I can't drink it anymore, but I can still represent. Talk about brand loyalty. So the first thing that I hauled was actually this bag. We went to a local farmer's market yesterday, and my husband bought me this. It's avocado toast. And it makes me really happy. It's very cheerful. This is a haul from a couple different stores. Mostly, I think it might all just be from Aldi and a store called H Mart, which is a Korean grocery store. So, and I just have it all in one bag. But, so from Aldi, I got these upcycled cookies. Upcycling is creatively saving food that otherwise would be wasted. The foods we've rescued in our new delicious line of cookies include okra, the nutritious pulp left over from tofu production, and soy milk production. So these are okra chocolate chip cookies, and I've actually, it's supposed to help reduce food waste and have an impact on the economy and climate change. I think it's got a lot of big aspirations for one little company, but I support them. I think that's a great value, and I've gotten these before, and my toddler loved these cookies. Had no idea that they were made from okra, so I think that's a huge win. Okay, I got some pink dragon fruit, but you can mention in the comments if you have an idea of why I got this, what I might be planning. But I got some pink dragon fruit, which is not cheap, by the way. I got some lemons. I got some ciabatta bread for sandwiches. I found palm sugar, which from my research is primarily sucrose and then some glucose, but only trace fructose. So technically it would be okay on my diet. Now I don't want to be like, woohoo, I can just go crazy and buy a bunch of palm sugar and just use that like as a one-to-one substitution at all times. Because I think I still need to be like just careful with my sugar intake. So, but I thought this would be good for when everybody's having hot chocolates. I can have a hot chocolate. Because I really don't want to have like fake sugar hot chocolate. So this is, I thought I would experiment a little bit with like hot chocolate, maybe chocolate milk, for just those days when I'm really craving it. Because like this fructose free thing isn't like a temporary diet so I can lose weight, it's like a forever thing. And I don't want to never have hot chocolate again in my life. And I also don't necessarily want to start wavering on the diet itself as it suits me, because what's the point? So I will probably be experimenting with this in the near future. I'll probably share it with y'all when I do. I got these red pearl onions. I've seen white pearl onions before, but not red ones. And I don't know, they just looked really good. They kind of inspired me. I want to make something with these and probably beef, but maybe chicken. I might just kind of use whatever's already in my freezer, and mushroom, cream of mushroom soup, and maybe some wine. So I don't know what exactly, but I feel like, I don't know, I'm feeling like celery and cream of mushroom soup and red or white wine and probably carrots. I don't know. It's just, they look delicious. So I thought I would give them a try. I've never had them before. I got brie for a specific recipe I have in mind that I will be sharing with you in the future. I got a head of garlic. I got sesame oil, 100% sesame oil. 1 perfectly ripe avocado that will be used today for dinner. And the last thing in this bag is this box of frozen 2 macaroni and cheese. I don't support Kraft. I don't purchase Kraft products or Nestle products for ethical reasons. But I thought I would start a new little kind of funny segment on this channel. My in-laws, we have a running joke, my husband and I, because my in-laws, specifically my mother-in-law, has never once shown up at our home empty-handed. There's something just bred into her that she has to bring something, like a gift or something, anytime she drops by. And I joke that she thinks she needs to pay admission, but it's just gotten comical because we've been married almost 8 years, and literally every time she shows up, she has some, like, just trinket from the dollar store, which was really funny because she actually would bring, like, toys and bubbles and stuff like that before we were ever even pregnant, like, before we even had kids. She would be like, oh, this reminded me of you. And so it's just kind of become a running joke, because we just want to know if she'll ever break her record, like, or if she'll ever, I don't know what she'd say, like, end the streak, because it's an 8-year running streak now that she has not shown up empty-handed. The one time I thought she actually managed to show up empty-handed, at the very end of the visit, she was like, by the way, I got y'all something, but I was afraid it would get too hot in the car on the way here, so it's at my house. So I think that still counts because she would have brought it, but she had to make an errand on the way here. So anyway, so I just thought I would share whatever the random gift of the week is whenever my mother-in-law visits, because sometimes there's some really funny ones. But this week it is a random box of frozen macaroni and cheese because it has a princess on it and she thought our toddler would like it. And she doesn't need to know every detail about, like, everything, but our toddler actually really doesn't like frozen, at least not yet. So there's nothing wrong with free food, but I did not buy this because I don't support Kraft. But yeah, I mean, we'll eat it. It's just so funny. Like, it's so random, but it's the kind of thing that she shows up with every single time. And me, I try to be more minimalistic. I certainly am not as minimalistic now that I'm a parent. It seems like our house is just, like, I'm constantly culling and it's constantly just filling up anyway. Let me know if you relate, but sometimes it has been almost a point of tension because she just brings this stuff in that we didn't pick. Sometimes it's, like, huge and decorative that would, like, change the whole tone of an entire room if we were to actually use it. So it's just kind of a funny thing. But anyway, so that's the last thing in this bag. So, story time. I've been promising this for way too long. It's probably going to be overhyped. But my biggest phobia. So the backstory of this is my first job in high school was at a bakery chain. It was like a sandwich shop and bakery, like a cafe kind of place. And I worked there for like a little over a year, part-time. Obviously, it was like high school. And I started, because I started working there when I was 16, so it's probably about a year and a half. And they were so desperate for employees, they were really not discriminating about who they hired. When I interviewed, the only real question that I was asked during the interview was who was my favorite Saved by the Bell character. So they were obviously really serious about making sure that they had people who cared about their jobs. So, but I loved baking and stuff, so I was there. I was mostly like a clerk because I was in high school, but I did learn to start doing some barista work there, and it was a good first job. But some of the people that worked there were just very, very, very immature. They weren't necessarily high schoolers, but one in particular who would then kind of corrupt some of the others. He was this guy who was like college age, and he would do pranks that were just so inappropriate, and like he would spike the huge lemonade container dispenser thing that we had like out next to the soda machine. Like he would just like he like twice he took a bottle of vodka, I think it was, or maybe it was Everclear, I don't remember, it was a long time ago, and he dumped a bunch of it into the lemonade, and I totally tattled because that is so dangerous. There are people on medications who can't consume alcohol. There are obviously children, and then there are like actual recovering alcoholics who, if they even smell it, much less taste it, could lose decades of sobriety. I just was like, I mean, I'm glad, like, looking back, I do not regret being a total tattletale, because, like, first of all, I don't have any loyalty to you. Like, you're not my friend, you're my coworker, and you're being a jerk in a really big, irresponsible way. Another thing he did one time was one of his friends came in and ordered a coffee, or like a, you know, espresso drink, and I think it was a hot chocolate, because at that particular place we would steam the milk with the hot cocoa mix in it to like incorporate it really well, but it would make the wand disgusting. And he put like a scoop of tuna into the hot chocolate and like steamed it with the hot chocolate, and I was like, okay, it's like kind of funny. Like, I could totally see that being just like kind of a funny prank on your friend, whatever, as long as you replace the drink that he paid for. But at the same time, like, it was like being steamed on the wand, and like it smelled rank to everyone, but also like I was really concerned about if someone had like a fish allergy or something like that, that it could actually make someone sick. So I went over and like cleaned the wand really, really well, and like cleaned the canister. But the Everclear thing, it was weird because I guess like the first time it happened, I told someone so that we could dump out the lemonade, and he got in trouble for ruining lemonade. He didn't get in trouble for like endangering the public or I don't know, just I can't believe that they didn't fire him then and there, honestly. But they didn't. I believe he did get fired the second time the same thing happened, though. But one of his pranks is why I have a phobia. And I still feel that it's skirting the line of a phobia, because a phobia is an irrational fear. I have other fears. They're not as fun or interesting. But this one, I feel like, was born from a rational place. I just now have an irrational fear. But some part of me feels like, or is it rational still, technically? So you can tell me. But so at this place, the ovens were built to, you would put a whole speed rack of, like, so a speed rack is like one of those, when you see footage of a restaurant or a bakery, it's like one of those metal racks that's as tall as me. It's like probably about 6 feet tall, and it has like a bunch of slots that you can put pans of baked items into. So this thing was set up, this oven was set up where you could put a speed rack in and then like shift it to the side and put another, and it would like, it was like a spinning, it was really cool. Like, now that I think about it, it was like a very unique oven, but you'd put the speed rack in and then you'd push it and there would be like another opening, and you could put another, so you could technically bake like 3 speed racks at a time in this oven. But because the speed rack is like as tall as me, it was technically a walk-in convection oven. So you would open the door, and you would have to be kind of quick about it, because when you, like, I never was a baker. Like, the baking usually happened early in the morning, and I mostly worked in the evenings anyway. But like, to keep the smell going, we would bake some stuff like throughout the day, and I never put things into the oven, but I would have to get them out sometimes. And so you would like step as quickly as you could in to grab the speed rack and pull it out, because you didn't want to melt your shoe, because it was a walk-in oven that was like hot. So that thing already kind of just like made me nervous. But then I had this very stupid coworker who thought it was funny to joke all the time. And one time I was like, I had just pulled a rack out and I was reaching in to like spin it to get the next rack over to the door, and he like jokingly pretended like he was going to close the door behind me, and I wasn't like inside, but it would have hurt to get touched by the door, period. And it just like completely freaked me out. And I don't scare easily. I'm really a pretty chill, like when in the circumstance of like fear, I guess I fight, like fight, flight, flee, or what is it? Fight, flight, freeze. I fight, and I already know this about myself. I don't tend to react to scary situations with like fear. I get mad. But that like really scared me because it was just every possible horrific image of being shut into a oven. I don't know. Anyway, but he like jokingly started to like close the door, and it like I got really upset because luckily like I don't think it touched me. And I think I was wearing long sleeves that day, but I don't think I would have been, because I never wore long sleeves at work. So I think I was just kind of lucky, frankly, that I didn't like react, because if I touched the door, I would have burned myself, just to like keep him from closing it or whatever. But he was fired soon after for the second Everclear incident. And then the crazy thing is, he actually waited like 6 months and then reapplied because all the management had turned over by then, and they almost hired him. And he came in for the interview and like came over and was like, hey, because I guess he didn't realize I had tattled on him. I think he just figured someone had caught it on camera or something. And so he was like, hey guys, I'm going to try to get my job back because I bet they don't even know that I ever worked here, blah, 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 blah. And so he actually told them like he had worked there before, but he'd left voluntarily, and they actually like were going to hire him back. And I went back to the management. I was like, do you guys know why he like was fired? So they didn't end up hiring him because like I had been there. I was the longest standing employee, like including management at that point, and I was like 17. But that incident gave me like several nightmares throughout the years of someone actually locking me, either accidentally or on purpose, in an oven that's like running. And I'm sure that there's like some kind of mechanism so that you can't be locked inside, just like with any walk-in freezer or fridge. But even then, it would be a hot thing because it would be inside of a hot oven. Like you'd have to touch something hot and burn yourself. And also just the horror, the abject horror of the idea of a walk-in oven. Makes sense for efficiency when you can just slide 20 pans of bagels onto a speed rack and just shove it into an oven and bake 3 of those at a time. You get your morning stuff baked fast. But I will never have a walk-in oven. So like that's why it's kind of an irrational phobia at this point. It's still my absolute greatest fear, but at the same time I don't like I have complete control over whether I ever have access to or have to work with or in proximity to an oven like that again. I'm also an adult, so I feel like, you know, it's funnier to like prank the 16-year-old that works with you when you're like 20 as opposed to like, you know, at this point I'd be management. You wouldn't do that. So like rationally, I'm never ever going to have to face that again. But so that's why it's a phobia. But technically it's born out of a rational fear of just like my stupid coworkers being funny and ending up getting me like severely burned. But yeah, so that's the story of my biggest phobia. So yeah, I maybe that highlights me as a little bit of a goody two shoes or something. If you think that, you know, there's never a time to be a narc or whatever, but I think there's a time and a place for it. And when you could ruin people's decades of sobriety and poison children and potentially cause complications with people's medications, I feel like that's a good time to speak up. So I don't really regret that. At all. Still don't. Nope. Never have. But I may have been more inclined to be a little more, like, noisy about the second Everclear incident because of the whole oven thing. Because I was genuinely... Because he was the kind of guy who would, like, when you were walking out to your car at, like, 9:30 by yourself, he would, like, jump out from behind the dumpster and, like, to scare you. Like, just really inappropriate jokes that did not make me like him. But he thought that we were all good. Like, he thought everybody was just totally friendly and that he was just, like, playing jokes. And I think just anytime someone is that tone deaf to the impact of their jokes, that's concerning. So that is my story and that is my haul. And I've got 2 more videos that I'm planning on, at least 2 more videos I'm planning on filming today. I've got a list of videos that I've been wanting to make. And this week's been kind of weird, so I haven't had a chance to do much filming. But I have been catching up on my editing, so you won't probably know the difference. But anyway, so I'll see you soon. And don't be surprised if I'm in the same shirt for several videos in a row, because, yeah, that's the thing.